Have you ever heard of jelly cats? This cute little bunny is inspired by jelly cats. We're gonna make it today. We're gonna start with the body of the bunny. I have 58 grams for the body. And for your rabbit, you could either make it just start with white, or I have actually dyed it with this taupe color from Color Mill. It gives it a subtle taupe color. So I just need the fondant to kind of get it going, and then I'm gonna roll it into a circle. And I'm kind of pressing down on both sides to get all the creases out. Okay, that looks good. Once it's in a circle, I'm gonna take my hands and roll it more like this to kind of get it like a cone. And I don't know if you can see on my bunny, it has a pretty slender body. So I'm gonna want something like that. Okay, my body's done. Now I'm gonna move on to the legs. And each leg is 10 grams, but I'll need 20 total. Okay, so I have 2 pieces that are 10 grams each. I'm just gonna start by rolling them both in balls. Now, once I have it in a ball, I'm gonna roll it more like a carrot shape. And I want to just try to get both legs the same. And if you look at this bunny, it actually has, the feet are flat. So in order to do that, I'm going to use my board just to press down so I have a nice flat foot. So for these front arms, I need 2 pieces that are 7 grams. I'm going to roll them in circles at first. And then I'm going to taper them like I did the legs. I want to put just a little bit of a ball at the end. And in order to do that, I'm just going to take my finger and roll it like this. And the same thing for the other arm. I'm going to roll it into a circle. And then a tapered log. And then I'm just going to put almost like a little wrist. Let's just make sure that the arms are about the same length. Now let's attach them. I have just some water in my palette right here and an edible brush. So I'm just taking the leg and kind of curving it, kind of how it would attach to the body. And I'm just adding some water to the part that's going to stick to the body. You want to make sure that when you add legs and body parts that they're just attached well so they don't break off. Here's my legs. Now we'll attach the arms. So I attach the arms kind of starting by the top of the body, and they just kind of curve towards the belly. Okay, now we're going to start working on the head. I have 60 grams of modeling paste. Just going to roll it into a ball, pressing down, make sure to get the creases out. And it's just feeling a little bit sticky, so I have some cornstarch here. I'm just going to dust it a little bit. Okay, now my bunny has kind of a slightly oval shape. And then about halfway, I'm just going to kind of press just so the top is down a little bit further, and this part where the nose would be is elevated a little bit. Now I'm going to take my Dresden tool with the pointy end, and this is where I'm going to do the line, kind of starting from below. And I'm going to go just to the raised part of the face. I'm going to take just a very small amount of my pink. And you can see here I use the Color Mill Rose color for the pink. So it starts off as just a little circle. And then I'm just going to flatten it a little bit. And I'm going to take my fingers and actually make a triangle with my fingers. So this is kind of the flat part, and then the part that points down. And you can always try it on for size, see if you made it too big or too little. I think I'm happy with that. So I'm just attaching the nose at the very end of my line. Now I have my very smallest balling tool, and I'm just gonna put little divots where I want the eyes. And typically where I put the eyes is kind of just where this part of my modeling paste kind of goes down to the right and the left of the nose. Just gonna put a little bit of water. Don't go crazy on the water right now, otherwise your pearls might bleed a little bit. And for eyes, I like to use black sugar pearls. I'll link below the products that I like to use. Okay. So there's our bunny's face. I'd like to start working on the bunny's ears, and I love how big and floppy they are. I'm gonna roll out some modeling paste, and I found with these ears that they look cutest if you roll it out fairly thick. And this cutter, I actually found, I make a lot of flowers, and this was a flower cutter of some sort, so I found it actually worked pretty well for the ears. The only thing is it's not quite long enough, so you'll see I'm gonna cut it, and I'm gonna end up stretching it a little bit. So you'll see it's pretty thick, and I'm gonna stretch it so it'll become a little bit thinner, so you wanna start out fairly thick. And I can kind of test to see if it's long enough. It needs to be a little bit longer. Now, when I do pull it this way, I lose some of this curve, so then sometimes I'll actually go back and kind of pull it this way too. Okay, let's start with that. I'm just gonna make one more ear. Then I can always test it to see if it's the same size as this ear. Now you could totally stop here. I did do a detail where there's a little bit of pink in the inside, but that's optional. If you'd like to do that, I'll just show you. I just take a little bit of the pink modeling paste, and I just found another flower cutter that's a little bit smaller, and I'm gonna roll this one a little bit thinner. Then I can just attach these with water. When I attach it, I want to actually put one side a little bit lower, and you'll see why in just a minute. Okay, I have a smaller fondant rolling pin, and I'm just gonna thin out the tops. And then the ears kind of fold in. I'm just gonna put a little water so it sticks. Like that. And by rolling this out a little bit thinner, it just makes it a little easier and not so thick when you fold it. You see how the ears kind of folded almost all along the face. So there's a pretty good part of it that's folded over. I thought this would be a cute detail. I just did a little matching pink bow. And in order to do that, I have a fondant mold. And this is the bow that I really like. You can always dust your mold a little bit with cornstarch so it doesn't stick. I'm just gonna kind of roll it in a snake at first. Kind of push it in. If you ever find that you have a little bit of cornstarch on your piece, you can actually just take an edible brush and just kind of dust it off. I want to take a toothpick and I want to insert it into the top of my body. This is just going to help attach the head onto the piece and make it more stable. And when I'm putting the toothpick in, I'm thinking about kind of twisting it instead of jamming, because you don't want to jam it in and then have the body squish. And I'm just going to apply some water on the top here and also on the bunny's head on the bottom. And then I'm going to attach the ears. So I know that the ears are going to attach on this piece here. And I'm really just thinking about adding water to any of the parts that are going to touch together. And you can really curve them however you think they look cute. The more you can kind of attach them to the parts on the bottom, the better. It's just going to be a little bit more stable and not as fragile. Okay, I've attached my ears to the bunny, and now I'm just going to add the pink bow with water. Okay, I think my bunny's done. What do you think?